Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Brian Schnee. This weekend, Utah's next governor and lieutenant governor are in southern Utah, gearing up to be sworn into office on Monday. But before they take the oath of office, Governor-elect Spencer Cox and Lieutenant Governor-elect Deidre Henderson are already discussing a number of issues their administration wants to take on. Fox 13's Ben Winslow is following the governor-elect and has the story from St. George tonight.
The inauguration ceremonies have been moved here to St. George. The warmer temperatures allow for socially distant events that are a little different than we're used to, of course, because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Before he takes the oath of office, Governor-elect Spencer Cox, Lieutenant Governor-elect Deidre Henderson and their families participated in a day of service, sorting donations to the Utah Food Bank. Ahead of Monday's inauguration ceremony, the new administration solicited donations to local food pantries, raising over $200,000. The COVID-19 pandemic has increased demand. The Utah Food Bank used to hand out 2 million pounds of groceries a month. Last March, it skyrocketed to 6 million pounds and hasn't gone down.
It's almost 3 times the demand. We have seen so many people who are first-time users, people who have lost their job in the service industry, some of which happened overnight, who have never had to ask for help before.
The new governor is holding his inauguration here to allow for an outdoor and physically distant ceremony. There's also symbolism in the farm kid from rural Utah getting away from the Wasatch Front.
That I grew up here and I've raised my kids here, and so I understand some of the nuances and things that make it unique.
The new governor will take office with some big issues immediately facing him, including the COVID-19 pandemic.
I do suspect that there is a surge.
Cases continue to climb after the Christmas holiday. The governor-elect tells Fox 13 he will keep existing health restrictions in place.
We have to continue to re-examine everything. We really do. And so we'll monitor the surge. We are hoping to get more testing, and every college student should be tested within the first 10 days of coming back to campus. We've given them the materials to do that.
He also plans to work on Utah's vaccination plan. The state recently removed essential workers with a focus on age and risk. The incoming governor tells Fox 13 he also has a new focus.
Where I've been most critical is the speed to distribution. Every shot that's sitting on a shelf is a life that's not being protected.
The governor-elect says he will be more vocal about getting more vaccines to more people.
In this area, I'm going to be a little too hands-on, and I'm definitely going to be in people's business to make sure that we're getting these vaccines out as quickly as possible.
Lieutenant Governor-elect Deidre Henderson is also outlining her priorities, which include a focus on equity.
Making sure that we're expanding opportunity and equality to all Utahns. We want to make sure that people's voices are heard, that people have who may have not had the same amount of opportunities because of the education barriers or other barriers, that we start solving those problems.
She says equity in classrooms must be addressed alongside increasing salaries to keep educators.
If we doubled the amount of money we spend on education and we still don't solve some of these equity problems and some of these barrier problems, we're still going to have the same troubles that we have now.
Now on Sunday, the governor and lieutenant governor-elect will visit a number of churches of different faiths as part of a day of prayer. The inauguration ceremony takes place Monday morning. You can watch it on Fox 13. In St. George, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Now to COVID-19 in Utah by the numbers. Today's data includes the numbers for New Year's Day. Since Thursday, more than 5,000 new cases have been reported, with 3,100 of those coming on New Year's Day, 1,900 reported today. Our positivity rate over the next past 7 days rather, is above 27%. 487 people are currently hospitalized for the virus. Over the past 2 days, 25 COVID-19 related deaths have been reported. 16 of those fell in today's count. Of the 25 total, 13 were women, 12 were women, 13 were men. 3 of the deaths reported were under the age of 45 years old. As of today, more than 46,000 people have received the first round of the COVID-19 vaccine. The first time anyone will be eligible to receive the second dose in Utah is this upcoming Tuesday. A positive start to the new year in Davis County. Hundreds of hospital healthcare workers in the county receiving the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine today, and more doses are on the way. Fox 13's John Franke shows us how the distribution of this life-saving shot is being streamlined to reach residents as quickly as possible.
Call it a sign of hope to start 2021. This is a mass vaccination clinic for COVID-19 at the Legacy Event Center. By the end of next week, the county hopes to vaccinate some 5,000 people.
We can run 28 cars every 5 minutes.
28 cars every 5 minutes, 336 per hour. In a 6-hour shift, Davis County has the capability to distribute more than 2,000 vaccine doses.
We're trying to be as efficient as we can, drive in and drive through and out the door.
Brian Hatch, the director of the Davis County Health Department, is overseeing the process using lessons learned more than a decade ago.
A lot of this originated back in H1N1. We had the mass vaccination during the swine flu.
Hatch calls this an improved iteration. Eligible residents reserve their slot online and arrive at their scheduled time. That allows nurses to prepare enough doses of this Pfizer vaccine that requires ultra-cold storage and prevents any waste.
We know how many appointments we have for the day. We brought a little under, and then we start bringing some more down.
Christy Cottrell is a nurse.
I call it liquid gold.
She's received that liquid gold and now gives it to others.
As a nurse working in public health my whole career, this is what we do. You know, how do we help get vaccines into people, and how do we prevent disease?
This is just the start of what will be a months-long life-saving effort.
I'm really excited that we have this vaccine available in our community right now.
Davis County plans to use this drive-through site when the vaccine is available to the general public.
This works well because we can physical distance.
Every turn of these wheels bringing life that much closer to a return to normal.
It's nice to see the excitement as people are coming in. They're very grateful, and we're glad to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
And Davis County wants to get the word out that if you work in the healthcare field, to sign up and get your vaccination here. They had about 2,000 appointments available on Saturday, but only about 1,000 actually got the shot. In Davis County, John Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Turning the weather now, what a beautiful day in the West Desert. Scott Taylor flying around Blue Lake, some scuba divers out there as well. Just a beautiful blue pond. It's warm in the middle of the desert beside, of course, what you're seeing around there. There's those scuba divers. I wanted to show you those. I saw some skiers on social media tonight, Doug, venting about needing more snow.
Oh, yeah.
Any powder on the way?
I think so. Well, we got a storm system that's going to hit tomorrow, and it's going to hit a good chunk of Utah, especially the northern 2/3 of the state. But right now, we're just dry. We're starting to cloud up a little bit temperature-wise. We are already below freezing in Salt Lake City at 28. Park City, you're at 20. Heber, you're even colder, 14 degrees. Looks like Provo at 24. That's the low for tonight, so it shouldn't get any colder than that into the overnight. Spanish Fork at 26, 14 over in Roosevelt, 14 at Price, Wendover in the lower 20s, and we're dropping in the mid-30s already in St. George. Cedar City, you're at 29. Bryce Canyon setting up for another cold night with a current temperature of 10. Looks like Moab not too far behind with a current temperature 11. Salt Lake City overnight, increasing clouds, so a little bit of a blanket. Low temperatures will pretty much stay in the upper 20s, at least in the Salt Lake Valley, so not too much colder than it already is now. St. George overnight will be below freezing by 4 o'clock in the morning. We're looking at some clouds as well start sifting in. We'll talk more about tomorrow's storm as we wrap up the first weekend of 2021, your 7-day coming up.
Sounds good, Doug. We will see you shortly. Utah researchers heading to social media to look at the long-term impacts of COVID-19. See what they uncovered online, including the hundreds of possible side effects. And a BYU legend is fighting for his life. We'll have an update on the condition of a former basketball coach. You know him, Dave Rose.
While we're in a new year, one of the big things is small businesses are still going to face some of the COVID-19 financial problems they have. On Fox 13, Spencer Joseph will have an outlook for the next year, plus one business that says it's unfortunately time to close their doors.
As a new year brings new optimism for some, businesses are continuing to worry about their bottom line, and for some it might even be the end of the road. Fox 13's Spencer Joseph joining us live tonight after talking with one store that is saying it's time to close their doors for good. Spencer.
Brian, yeah, and to put a little bit of context for our viewers, the app Yelp put out some data through the third quarter of last year that said 176,000 businesses had marked themselves closed at some point through the year. Over 100,000 of them had marked themselves permanently closed, and that's not even data through the entire year. So especially for small businesses, and a lot of them here in Utah, those financial troubles are not going away.
Closed signs, whether temporary or permanent, have hung on thousands of businesses in Utah.
I'm sorry that you guys are closing.
Yeah, it's a real bummer. It's nothing we planned for, man.
One of which is the Exit Outdoors shop in Salt Lake City.
Like, a lot of people have been excited to do more outdoor things, but the problem is we're not seeing an increase of people coming in.
This is Darren Newell. He co-owns the store.
These don't go on sale till next April anywhere in the country. We got them 30% off. We watched our traffic go from an average of 20 to 50 people a day down to 0.
On top of that, in March,
ski resorts started shutting down. No ski resorts, no winter sales.
And their big moneymaker, trade shows, aren't happening either.
And that's how we got the money to build up and get this inventory to get these stores going. Trade shows are just canceling one by one.
And as if that wasn't enough, a few months ago, they were robbed.
Like, you can still see the cracks and everything. Wow. They like literally chained up the doors and ripped them out. We had the people with garbage bags looking like Santa Claus just grabbing entire racks. I mean, one whole rack of new jackets could have been $4 grand.
A perfect storm of problems plaguing Newell's childhood dream.
I grew up in Hawaii. I've always wanted to have a really cool surf shop. We tell people we're building a mountain-style surf shop for Utah.
So while they plan to regroup at their one remaining location, Newell's message to people in 2021.
Hopefully this year people are more open to supporting local businesses, getting out there. If 5,000 people can go to a Costco in a day, why not 20 people come see a local business?
They also said this year online sales have been a big help. That's at least kept them a little bit afloat through this. But the big takeaway is, even though we're in a new year, those financial problems are here to stay for some Utah businesses. Live in downtown Salt Lake City, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Spencer, thank you. Southern Utah University police are hoping you can help end a streak of car burglaries. Investigators say over the past few months, 5 catalytic converter thefts have been reported. The target vehicles have either been a Honda Accord or a Toyota Prius. Police are looking for a blue vehicle, possibly a 2018 to 2019 Toyota Camry. Contact SUU Police if you can help them out. Sad news for BYU fans. Former Cougars basketball coach Dave Rose has been hospitalized after reportedly suffering a stroke on New Year's Eve. During Rose's tenure as head coach from 2005 to 2019, BYU had an overall record of 348 and 135. It's the second all-time at BYU in wins. They also had 8 NCAA tournament appearances. A tweet from BYU basketball posted today says, quote, "The entire BYU athletics family wishes to offer its collective faith and prayers in behalf of longtime coach Dave Rose and the Rose family." It's been 9 long months since the COVID-19 pandemic hit Utah, and even now, healthcare professionals are still learning about the long-term side effects of the virus. Fox 13's Diego Romo spoke with a researcher at the University of Utah about what they are doing to gather more data on how the virus impacts the body.
With not enough data to go off of early on in the pandemic, researchers like Dr. Jeanette Brown with the University of Utah were turning to social media to learn how COVID-19 affects the body.
We were actually on Twitter with a lot of our colleagues in New York and in Washington saying, hey, what are you seeing?
The lack of data created problems when trying to treat those suffering from the long-term effects of the virus, like Lisa O'Brien.
At first, there was a lot of dismissal, disbelief.
She tested positive nearly 11 months ago and founded the Utah COVID-19 Long Haulers Facebook group to help those like her find answers. Her focus now is on helping researchers learn more about the virus.
So we know what we're struggling with. We just need to find more researchers now to look into this and kind of dig deeper.
Since the onset of the pandemic, several studies have been published. One of the most recent surveyed over 3,700 people internationally and found that patients were experiencing over 200 different symptoms. Dr. Brown says the data helps researchers find patterns in how the virus is affecting people long term.
And then that gives us ways to generate hypotheses or ideas what research needs to come next.
Which in turn helps doctors and medical professionals develop ways to treat patients moving forward.
If we can confirm a mechanism of what's going on with this disease, then you're looking at then treatment options.
Dr. Brown and others are working to create a post-COVID clinic at the University of Utah.
It's a place for us to practice the best care that we know of currently, and as new things become available, make those things available to patients.
The new research and creation of post-COVID clinics gives long haulers like Lisa O'Brien hope.
It just feels good to know that we're not being ignored anymore. And that there are people that want to see us get better.
Dr. Brown said the post-COVID clinic at the University of Utah will be opening in the coming weeks, and a fundraiser has been set up to help researchers there continue to gather data on COVID-19. We'll link you over to it at fox13now.com. In Salt Lake City, Diego Romo, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Turning to weather now, here's a look at a time lapse from our Oquirrh Mountain camera. You can see a little bit of haze kind of settling in the Salt Lake Valley there, some snow on the mountains right across the valley. And if you turn this camera just north, Doug, you would see the Great Salt Lake, which it looked like a beautiful day out there as well.
Yeah, picturesque any time of year. It doesn't matter whether it's winter, fall, spring, or summer. Take a look at this viewer photo that was tweeted out by Daniel Forbes. Isn't that gorgeous? Yeah, that's a postcard photo right there. Great Salt Lake, I believe taken today. Recent shot. Even with the gray, it's beautiful. Hey, now there's a little sunshine there poking through. Twilight up the big Cottonwood Canyon. Brighton Resort. Isn't that gorgeous? This was taken this evening. Love the pink in the sky, the sunset. Just spectacular. We need to add some snow, though, to our mountains. I know Brighton's had almost, 9 feet of snow. They need more, though. Brighton, you may end up with 3 to 6 inches out of this next storm system that will be impacting northern, even central Utah tomorrow. Now, for the Wasatch Front, we have a wintry mix. It will start off as snow in the morning, and then as it starts to warm up, it will mix in with some rain or change completely over to rain late morning into the afternoon. So kind of slushy, kind of a wet day, certainly a snowy start to your Sunday. If you get up early enough, the roads may be a little dicey out there. And for the mountains, 1 to 6 inches of snow likely. Higher you go, the more you'll get. Sunshine returns, though, on Monday. We're done with that storm system, and we'll get a slight temperature bump. We're at 28 degrees right now. We'll call it partly cloudy. A little bit of a breeze out there, but not bad at about 7 miles per hour. St. George, you're at 36, no wind. Been lucky the last few days. Not much of a breeze at all for southern Utah. Here comes the clouds from our next storm system. Nothing showing up on the radar, not yet. We're not really expecting any precipitation tonight. It's tomorrow morning. Timing's a little tricky on this. It could wait a while in the morning before it starts to cut loose, but it's definitely on the way. 27 is expected in Salt Lake City with turning cloudy overnight. Ogden right around 30, Logan at 23. Southern Utah will stay dry, 22 expected for a low temperature in Cedar City. Kanab, you'll have a low of 21. Now tomorrow's forecast, we're up to about 40, so no wonder we're looking at the threat of rain, but we'll start off with snow. 38 in Ogden, rain, snow there, and I think it'll be all snow for Logan, perhaps 1 to 2 inches on the ground. Park City, at least in town, anywhere from 1 to 3 up on the slopes, 3 to 6. 34 for High and Price, 54 in St. George, a little warmer than this afternoon. Southern Utah for the next 3 days, we're up to 60. There's that slight temperature bump I was talking about. 60 for southern Utah as we go to the beginning of January. Yeah, it is a little bit on the warm side, but we're back to the 50s, back to reality starting Wednesday. Wasatch Front for the northern Utah area. Wintry mix tomorrow. We're 40. Storm's done Monday. In fact, tomorrow night should be mostly out of here. And then a dry start to your work week on Monday. We'll get some sunshine, and we may see more of that wintry mix for Tuesday, rain and snow and mountain snow. That'll be good. Wednesday, a break and a chance of more snow next Friday. I think the storm on Friday will be a colder one. Looks like it'll be just all snow with Saturday's high topping back up into the 40s. Right?
Doug, thank you. Still ahead here on Fox 13 News at 9. Some distilleries that made hand sanitizer during the pandemic were actually charged fees by the Food and Drug Administration. We'll explain why they'll no longer have to pay up. And don't forget, when you can't watch us live here on Fox 13, you can always watch us streaming online for free. We got options for you: Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV. Just search for KSTU Fox 13 on your device. We'll be right back. Thanks for joining us at 9:30. In your national news, nearly a dozen Republican senators say that they will reject Electoral College votes from multiple states. Congress is expected to certify President-elect Joe Biden's victory next week. But 11 Republican lawmakers said they intend to support an objection to the Electoral College votes until a commission completes an emergency 10-day audit on the election. President Donald Trump and other Republicans have insisted there was widespread voter fraud despite no credible evidence. In response to the planned opposition, Utah Senator Mitt Romney calling it an egregious ploy and nonsense. The senator saying that congressional power to reject electors is reserved for extreme and unusual circumstances. And Romney says these are far from it. He also referenced the record amount of Americans participating in the election and President Trump's lawyers failing when making their case in court. Senator Romney saying in a statement, quote, "Were Congress to actually reject state electors, partisans would inevitably demand the same any time their candidate had lost. Not voters in the respective states would choose our presidents." Now, his full statement is on our website, fox13now.com. Former longtime CNN talk show host Larry King is hospitalized with COVID-19. A source close to the family saying he's been at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in L.A. for more than a week now. King has had multiple heart attacks, and he underwent quintuple bypass surgery in 1987. He's also 87 years old, meaning he is at higher risk for complications from COVID-19. Of course, we wish King a speedy recovery. A sigh of relief for distilleries tonight after federal officials now say they don't have to pay a large fee for making hand sanitizer during the early days of the pandemic. Many distilleries across the country switching over from making booze to hand sanitizer months ago, helping out their communities in the way. Now, however, just days ago, the FDA announcing facilities doing this would have to pay thousands of dollars. But now the feds have had a change of heart.
Everybody is hurting in this pandemic, and we don't have 14,000 just laying around for fees.
The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services tweeting, quote, "Small businesses who stepped up to fight COVID-19 should be applauded by their government, not taxed for doing so." Tomorrow, our content sharing partners at the Salt Lake Tribune will begin a new chapter by printing its very first weekly edition of the Sunday paper. New Year's Eve was the last day the Salt Lake Tribune would be published as a daily newspaper. Now, the cover story in tomorrow's paper tackling the issue of child hunger. Over the course of the pandemic, Salt Lake Tribune reporters finding out that Utah Food Bank has seen a 300% increase in food distribution, from delivering 2 million pounds of food a month to 6 million pounds of food a month. Much of that food is being distributed by Utah's K-12 schools.
The numbers are incredible. People we spoke to, from advocates who've worked in this area from a long time, to parents who have been asked to, for example, start a food pantry in a school, have been surprised by the need. We spoke to a woman who is helping with a food pantry at Olympus High. And she said one of her first reactions to her principal was, "Really? We need this?" And it has been a surprise to her how deep and wide the need is everywhere.
You can read more about this story in tomorrow's edition of the Salt Lake Tribune or on their website, sltrib.com. Coming up, it was one of the most terrifying moments of their lives until a complete stranger stepped in. Hear about how one couple got the chance to thank their guardian angel after a house fire on Thanksgiving. Plus, hear about the gift one man made to save his sister's life. Doug?
And at weather today, we are a little warmer, 39 in Salt Lake City. Beat out the 32 we had yesterday. Not bad for the second day of January. Of course, it's been warmer, and it certainly has been a lot colder. We will go more with the warmer and the threat of rain, along with snow. Your forecast coming up.
It's a changing of the guard for law enforcement in the city of Ogden. Chief Randy Watt has stepped down, and there's now a new top cop in his place. Fox 13's Max Roth has a look back and a look ahead at the future of the Ogden Police Department.
The 4 years spent leading this department have been among the most gratifying, of my almost 40-year law enforcement career.
Randy Watt has been the police chief for 4 years in Ogden after being called out of retirement to lead the force. He praised his relationship with the mayor and the city, saying it's what other departments dream of.
We work well together. We don't always agree, but we can civilly and professionally dialogue and reach consensus on most issues.
Together, they created a strategic policing plan, and over the past 4 years, serious crime in general has been reduced by 34%, violent crime down 27%. New Police Chief Eric Young has been with the department for 27 years and was Assistant Police Chief. He's a proud Ogden native, too, and reminisced about things like watching a movie at the Egyptian or Orpheum Theater, riding on a small train at Lauren Farr Park, and watching baseball games at Affleck Field.
On weekends, I walked from my grandmother's house in the 2400 block of Tyler to a small grocery store a couple blocks away for penny candy. That store has long since been demolished, but my love for Ogden has not.
Both men spoke of the challenges ahead, with claims of police brutality and racial injustice. Police have never been under attack as much and under a microscope like this. Officers are leaving the force, and it's hard to find new recruits. Positions have gone unfilled. Chief Young says he understands the current situation, and he's willing to listen to the concerns of local residents.
I will listen to the concerns of this community, build understanding of the challenging circumstances our fine Ogden officers encounter every day, as well as understanding those members of our community who hold different thoughts, values, and opinions about policing.
Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
A local senior living facility in the Salt Lake Valley is getting a major boost in their fight against coronavirus. Fox 13's Aaron Cox shows us the state-of-the-art technology that the staff and the residents at The Ridge received, in addition to their COVID-19 vaccinations.
Here we go!
A red letter day for folks at this senior living facility. The COVID-19 vaccine has arrived.
We have been very blessed to receive the vaccine from Moderna through our partners with Red Rock Pharmacy. So we anticipate vaccinating approximately 109 residents and probably close to 100 staff members by the end of the day.
I wasn't nervous. I just know that you have to have something to get rid of this thing. And it reminded me of when I was a kid, it was polio.
In addition to receiving the vaccine, the Ridge facility also installed a new ventilation system. The auto-cleaning needlepoint bipolar ionization system is a $500,000 investment placed in fan units on the rooftop. The system pushes out heating and air conditioning, along with millions of germs.
They act like magnets, and they find bad particles in the air. So whether that's COVID, the flu, smog, smoke, pollens, anything that we don't want in the air, it attaches to like a magnet and it deactivates the virus.
Tests have shown the system has a 99.4% deactivation rate for the coronavirus. With its installation and each vaccination comes hope. Hope that family members can start visiting again.
I'm looking forward to just a hug. I've missed my hugs.
Aaron Cox, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Up next, everyone could use some help right now. A group of college students is stepping up to lend a hand to moms in particular. We'll introduce you to the minds behind Project Matriarchs. College students are stepping up to help working moms during the pandemic. It's part of a virtual tutoring service called Project Matriarchs. Two students on a gap year came up with the idea after talking with parents about balancing work and remote learning for their kids. They found moms were shouldering most of the responsibilities, some resorting to dropping out of the workforce.
It was just this reoccurring conversation we'd have where people felt so overwhelmed and so alone. And we were like, okay, we need to do something, not only for these women who are experiencing this right now, but also for ourselves and like young women in our peer group who are going to be inheriting these norms very soon.
Here's how it works. Forms to sign up are online. College students will be vetted to become tutors. Then the site will match them with kids based on availability and what subject that they need help with. The tutors can either volunteer or make $15 an hour, but most parents don't pay anything at all. Project Matriarchs relies on donations to keep the service available for families who need it the most.
So many of these kids, especially in some different school systems, are getting left behind. And of course, no, not on purpose or not that the teacher can do a lot about it, but just kind of having some one-on-one support that isn't a cost burden or is accessible to everyone, I think has also just proven to be really important.
The founders are now in talks with employers about offering their service. A study by the National Women's Law Center found that more than 2 million women have left the workforce since the pandemic began. It was a reunion that one California couple soon will not forget after a stranger they never met helped save their lives on Thanksgiving night.
So I kind of just barged in the house and was like, hey, I think your house is on fire. You might want to get out.
My Thanksgiving just got worse.
It was all a blur. All I can remember is just running through the home telling everybody to get out and call 911.
Tom Ward and Sherry George wanted to say thank you to the Good Samaritan who let them know that their house was engulfed in flames, but they did not know how to find him. Thanks to social media, the couple and the mystery man from Tennessee, who just happened to be in town that day, finally met.
Just a stranger kind of coming by and blessing us with getting us out.
It could have been a lot worse. I'm glad no one got hurt.
Dominic Holmes, the Good Samaritan who you just heard from, says if he were in a bad situation, he would want someone to help him too. It's an incredible sign of a strong sibling bond. A middle school teacher in Chicago is reflecting on what she is thankful for, which is a life-saving gift.
At that point, I was like, okay, what random person are we going to ask for this?
I knew that, I knew I had to step up right away.
Kristen Botkowitz and her younger brother Jason have been close since they were little. She was diagnosed with liver disease as a teen and needed a new one. Just last year, she found out a living donor was an option. Sure enough, doctors confirmed Jason was a perfect match. Doctors at the University of Chicago transplanted 2/3 of Jason's liver to his older sister.
I would just be so weak and so tired. And then after this transplant, I was like, it was like an instant. I felt so good. Whatever anybody's ever going through, it will not be forever. It will get easier.
Well, we're happy to report tonight that both Jason and Kristen are in good health now after the operation. Let's turn back to weather now. Taking a look at this time lapse today from the Albion Basin camera at Alta. You can see the stars in this visual. You can see the groomers out there, and then you see the sun come up, and kind of some of those clouds linger throughout most of the day. But what you don't see is any new snow for those skiers up there at Alta. Doug, anything coming in tomorrow's front?
Yeah, actually, we'll get some fresh snow up high. We might even see some accumulation down low in the Wasatch Front, so don't be surprised. You could see maybe an inch in some spots along the valley, so just FYI, driving tomorrow in the morning at least could be a little dicey as well. The storm system that will provide us the precipitation hitting Seattle, Portland, Northern California around Crescent City. It's marching this way, bringing the clouds in overnight. Timing of when it's actually going to snow in the morning is a little bit iffy right now. It may start off before sunrise or maybe wait a little after that, but it's coming. And it could get a little dicey out on the roadways, as I mentioned before. So take it easy if you are traveling anywhere in Utah tomorrow. 40 will be the afternoon high, so not only are we looking at snow, but the threat of rain mixing in with that snow late morning into the afternoon. Meanwhile, to the northwest, they'll continue to see wet weather in Seattle and in Portland. Rain expected over in Boise. 58 for high in San Francisco with a lot of clouds. Forecast tomorrow for eastern Nevada, snow likely in the morning, so traveling I-80 might be a little rough, early morning at least. Even some snow possible in Wendover. Rain, snow over in Tooele. I think even a rain-snow combination, at least a chance in Delton, even as far south as Fillmore. This storm could impact even, that far south, all the way down to Milford, at least in the morning. 36 for high in Hanksville. We're looking at a mostly to partly sunny sky for Kanab at 48. Some clouds around with sunshine blending in St. George with a high of 54. Northeastern Utah, There's a chance of snow in Vernal and in Duchesne. Even Price could get a little bit of snow along with Nephi. Green River, wouldn't be surprised at all either with seeing some snow there. With a high temperature of only 33. It'll be the frozen precipitation, not the liquid like we may see in the Wasatch Front. So we got snow to start off your Sunday from Ogden all the way down to Provo. I think you get around the bend, the point of the mountain, it might start to dry out a little bit as the storm system comes in, but I think we'll certainly see some wet weather even for Utah Valley. Park City, mostly snow there, 1 to 3 inches down low. The mountains of northern Utah, 3 to 6. Not a big storm, but we'll take it. 3 to 6 is better than 0 to 1, I guess. Evanston will have a high of 34 with a potential of snow there. Southern Utah, we'll look at the next 3 days. Look at that little bump in temperatures. Tuesday, a mild afternoon with a high of 60. It is January, right? Well, we're not there long. By Wednesday, high temperatures in the mid-50s. Not bad. Will be dry for southern Utah for the next 7 days. Going into weekend number 2 of the new year. We're looking at a sunny sky and a high 52 on Saturday. Wasatch Front. Snow tomorrow, could see some rain mix in with that, certainly if not late morning in the afternoon. And then we're done with that storm by Monday, so that won't affect the Monday morning commute. A partly sunny day, a little warmer, and then back to a mix perhaps on Tuesday. Then we get a little colder as the work week wears on. By Friday, this next potential storm could bring with it just snow, and then that clears out with a dry start to next weekend.
The Utes fell a bucket or two shy of beating UCLA on New Year's Eve. Larry Kostoviak's group remaining in Southern California over the new year to visit USC this afternoon. Still perfect at home, but winless on the road coming in and getting roughed up by that Trojan horse early. Friendly roll for Isaiah White. Then White crashes in for the rim-abusing dunk. Utah down as much as 16 early, but credit the Utes. Here they come all the way back to take a brief lead. Alfonso Plummer lengthened the floor for Timmy Allen. But it was all SC out of the locker room. Noah Bowman, strong baseline take here. Home team back out in front by 14. Only one Ute in double figures. Call it a career high. 10 points by the freshman out of Costa Rica, Ian Martinez. But the Trojans were too tough. New Isaiah Mobley this time from the block. One bounce and stuff. The Utes held to just 46 points. Their lowest point total in nearly 2 years.
We're going to put some time into offense, and we better not forget how important defense is, but we've got to make some strides as we head into conference right now, getting a lot more functional offensively than we have.
The Aggies hitting their stride, winners of 5 straight, including Air Force once already this week, blowing by the Academy again. Monster game, the Miasketa with USU scoring the first 14 points. Little flick by the Lone Peak kid, Luke Ashworth. Navy then adding a quick start to the second half to run away with it. Queta a little too much man for the Falcons, or anyone for that matter, to handle. The Portuguese power punch with 15, 11 boards, 6 assists, 4 blocks, and 2 steals. How's that for contribution? Returning the favor to Justin Bean as the Aggies roll by 19. Their 6th in a row. Go to Ogden for an in-state late ad here. Weber hosting Utah Valley. Close game, second half. Wildcats up a point. Cody Carlson pumps like the Reeboks on his feet. And one opportunity. Other end, the Wolverines answer. Jaden McClanahan from downtown. This thing going back and forth a lot. Michael Kozak's turn for purple as he delivers a clutch 3. Trading trays, first Devin Jones. Then immediately after, Trey Woodbury does the same for UVU. But the Cats finally pulling away over the last couple minutes. Dante Bassett with the angry flush underneath to seal the 70-62 win. Former BYU quarterback Steve Sarkisian had failed coaching stints at USC and Washington, but after revitalizing his career as Alabama's offensive coordinator, is leaving the Crimson Tide to take the head job at Texas. Sarkisian was this year's Broyles Award winner, recognizing the nation's top assistant. Last day of the bowl season, including last chance for the Pac-12 to get a postseason win. Crafty move here by Iowa State QB Brock Purdy to go up on Oregon. Then the Cyclones with a surprise on the kick. The pooch causing trouble for the Ducks. Iowa State gets it right back, leading to another short touchdown run. Breece Hall this time as they double up the Pac-12 champ, 34-17. An upset at the Outback. Ole Miss square with 11th-ranked Indiana in the fourth. Matt Corral has Dontario Drummond right at the goal line. The Rebels missed the extra point, so last chance for former Ute quarterback Jack Tuttle. Remember him and the Hoosiers? But Tuttle is hurried and incomplete. This could allow BYU to move up yet another spot when the final polls do come out. The Utah Grizzlies' late start finally got underway this week, looking for 3 straight wins over incoming Rapid City. Start with a first-period poke off the stick of Pat Cannone. Utah adding another here. Loose puck near the net. Joe Wegworth on the ice to punch that one home. Yuri Torero, the game-winning steal and goal in the third, as the Grizz pull the season-opening sweep in West Valley after the 3-2 win. And of course, tomorrow on Fox 13, last day of the NFL regular season. Still plenty on the line for all kinds of teams. You can catch Cowboys-Giants in the morning with Bears-Packers after that. We'll be right back.
Don't go to bed yet. Finally tonight, attention virtual farmers, you are now retired. One of Facebook's earliest successes, Farmville, is no longer supported by Adobe. The game shut down for good this week, a victim of outdated Adobe Flash software. I know we felt the pain here at the station too. Adobe decided to kill Flash after it declined in popularity due to its difficulty running functions on mobile phones. Now Adobe is now supporting Flash. They've abandoned it. It's gone. I never played Farmville, but I will see you for QuickCast in just 2 minutes.